Now, this is one of those movies where even if you think you know everything about Michael Jackson, just seeing it like this, it just hits different. Let's talk about it. On this Trey here, and since you found me, you might as well go ahead and leave a like and subscribe for more content. Now today I'm going to be talking about the king of pop himself, the movie Michael, released in 2026, directed by one of my favorite directors, Antoine Fuqua. Now this movie right here, I've been excited for it since last year when it was announced, and through all the little stuff that it was going through in production getting made, I am so glad that it is finally here. So you guys, make sure you stick around for the entirety of the video so you can know my full thoughts of the film. You don't want to miss this, trust me. So for those of you that don't know, Michael is a biopic of the legendary Michael Jackson. It's directed by Antoine Fuqua and it is played by Jaafar Jackson, which is Michael Jackson's nephew. And also alongside Colman Domingo playing Joe Jackson and Nia Long playing Miss Catherine Jackson, Michael's mother. And this film follows Michael Jackson's journey to stardom, from his early days with the Jackson 5 all the way through his adulthood and his rise to global stardom. This film is highlighting the music, the pressure, the fame, and the complications that he endured on the way to the top. And I say this right now, this movie here does not try to tear him down, which I am so grateful. This movie is more about a celebration of Michael Jackson, his artistry, his legacy, and his impact on the entire world, even till this day. So, going into my first thoughts and reactions of the film while walking in, I had already made up in my mind, when I go watch this movie, I am not going to sit down and overanalyze this movie. I just went in like, let me experience this and have a great time with it. And by doing that, I am so glad that I did. Because this movie works best when you feel it, and not when you pick it apart. So, starting out, what works? For me, Jaafar Jackson is Michael Jackson. Boy, this boy here put on a show! I mean, not just by the looks, man, the movement, the energy, the presence. And when he's performing, that's when this movie works best. I mean, the concert scene, his stage presence, the choreography, you can tell this boy trained his butt off to get the movements and mannerisms of his late great uncle down to a T. And he definitely did. I mean, it honestly feels like you're watching Michael Jackson again. And that there is where this movie really shines. Next, what works is the musical experience in this film. This movie is basically a greatest hits experience on the big screen. I mean, all the way from the Jackson 5 to Thriller to Bad. These performances aren't just thrown in. They're recreated with care and passion. From Jaafar to the director to the background extra. Everybody played their part and pitched in perfect. I mean, the visual, choreography, all this works together to bring the most iconic moments back to life. And while experiencing that, it's not just watching the movie, it's reliving the moment. Also, the performances across the board in this film, oh my god. Jaafar, he was the leading man, and he put in the work, you can tell. But everybody else, they put in the work too. Colman Domingo as Joe Jackson, man, he brings that intensity, the pressure, the fear. Every time this man popped up on screen, boy, my heart started beating. Cause I didn't know if he was about to get the beating. And by that performance alone, you can tell why Michael became Michael. And that performance by Colman Domingo adds weight to everything. The pressure, the resilience, everything Joe Jackson did to Michael to push him to be the greatest, Colman Domingo, he actually portrays that perfect. Also, the direction from Antoine Fuqua, man, this movie looks polished, feels big, and also it feels important on top of it. Antoine Fuqua's direction leans more into presence, emotion, and spectacle. And honestly, that works for a story like this. Because at the end of the day, Michael Jackson wasn't small. So, the movie shouldn't have felt small either. I also enjoyed the emotional impact and legacy that this movie gave off. And this right here is where I think the movie really connects. It does a great job at reminding you who Michael was, what he meant to people, and how big his impact really was. And that's why I'm rocking with this movie so hard. So now, moving on to what doesn't work for me. Like I mentioned, I went into this movie, just wanting to feel the experience. But at the same time, I just want to point out a few things that honestly could have pushed this movie over the top. But who knows, they might add on to some of this stuff in part 2, because this is only part 1. But really my biggest thing is that I didn't learn anything new while watching this film. But I'm not going to tear the movie down for it. I just got to be real. I didn't walk out the film like, oh man, wow, I didn't know this or that. I mean, like, compared to Straight Outta Compton, when I went to go watch that film back when it released in 2015, while watching that movie gave you a new insight of who NWA was. Even though if you was a fan of the group and knew about the group, you still came out of that movie Mike knowing a little bit more than what you came in there with. You know, like things you didn't know, things you didn't see, or probably things you didn't understand at first. But this, Michael, it just feels like more of a retelling, a celebration, a greatest hits version of life. This movie focuses on more iconic moments rather than deep exploration of who he really was. And don't get me wrong, like I said, that's not bad. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film. But at the same time, it does limit how impactful this movie could have been as a biopic. And another thing, this movie has a little bit more style than substance. And honestly, this ties everything. This movie has style, performance, and visual. But story-wise, it's kind of lacking. It doesn't always go as deep as it could. It's kind of just more of a playlist rather than a story. And if you're not understanding what I'm trying to say, it's pretty much like we could have had the performances, had the iconic moments. We could have had everything that made Michael who he was from the entertainer side, as well as focusing on a specific storyline narrative in his life. But anyway, my overall thoughts, me personally, I'm not about to beat this movie down because I understand what it's trying to be. This is not a deep psychological breakdown of Michael Jackson. This is a celebration of Michael Jackson. And when you watch it like that, it works. But if I had to rate Michael, I would have to give it maybe a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. It has strong performances, great musical moments, big emotional impact, but still lacks a little depth. This might not teach you everything about Michael, but it will sure as hell remind you why everybody fell in love with. And like I mentioned, this is only part 1. We still have part 2 on the way. And Lionsgate, please don't drop the ball. Name part 2 Jackson. So when we watch both of them together, we got Michael Jackson. You got one job. And let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Michael? Is he the king of pop? And was this movie the greatest biopic of all time? Let me know in the comments below. But if you made it to this far in the video, I greatly appreciate you. Please like and subscribe on your way out if you haven't already. It greatly helps the channel. But be sure to follow for any more movie news, reviews, or anything of that nature, because it's possible. If you've seen it, I've seen it too.